Poetry, like so many arts forms, has a very expressing or an inexpressible and exposing human nature through a musical rhythms, a vivid imagery, and a powerful metaphors throughout history. Female poets have used voices to be catalysts for social and political change, and their voices are just as important as today as they ever have been, and there are countless volumes of poetry written by women who deserve our praise and adoration, that we have taken time off to select some of the most inspiring awards. You'll be watching today's edition of your program Turn Up. Just stay with us. Exciting to be with you on another edition of your program Turn Up, a program that seeks to empower women and the girl child on Canal the English. And today we focus on how poetry can communicate the issues women face daily in our society, and we have invited students from the University of Boya. Here to talk about poetry. We had a competition on poetry. I'm going to talk about the experiences, what they know about poetry. And if you want to participate into this edition of the program, you can write to us on a number you'll be seeing on your TV screens. You can equally attack us on Facebook and on YouTube, and you can watch all our past editions. Now, you want to know our guest, right? Now, we'll do this after the jingle. It's all about women, it's all about poetry today, and we have invited our fine brains as usual. They are young, and they're here to tell us how they dish out poetry on a daily basis, and how this could build young girls, this could build society, this could build nations. And I'll begin by introducing somebody who's very close to me, Martina Angie. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
But this is not the first time.
No, it's not the first
I hope I pronounce your name well.
Martina
Angie. Now, you are the CEO of Vivadef.
Vivadef, as in Women Imparting Values for Development.
Okay.
Yes.
So, where did you get inspiration from?
Well, Vivadef, like the name sounds, imparting values. It's all about instilling or committing values into young girls to inspire them become the future role model wives, role model mothers, and leaders in every sphere of society. We believe strongly that the problems we face in society stem a lot from fallen values.
Okay.
Why many girls go to school and end up pregnant, while many girls go to school and end up dropping out because of bad company, because of so many pressures they face in the society, is a result of the quality of their values. And Vivadef is out to strengthen those values and help girls pick up those values that can help them accomplish their dreams. I am a living example of the vision I am communicating. My values stood me out. Okay.
Now, you've been existing for how long? For how long have you had the structure?
Well, we have been operating since 2013 as
that's quite a long time.
Distinct Women of Valor, but officially got registered in 2017. That's May 2017 as Women Imparting Values for Development. The idea of Distinct Women of Valor is the picture of the women we want to see.
Okay.
But Women Imparting Values, that comes from the work we are doing to get the Distinct Women of Valor.
That's a beautiful idea, but you're still very young. Now, I would like to find out now, what is your target group?
Well, like I said, Vivadef, when you hear Women Imparting Values, and we are talking about young girls, and someone asked last time, okay, we are actually targeting to build or instill these values in young girls ranging from the age of 13 to about 23.
So you're not going down to the primary level?
Well, we actually have the massive focus when it comes to just doing some basic work, but the ones we have to build is the ones we believe that their brains are
some basic education,
and some understanding, because we are communicating some very hard values which they need to understand before implementing. And we see them as the mothers of tomorrow. That's why we're talking about women. They are going to be those role model wives, women, and leaders in every sphere to communicate these values to the next generation of girls. That's why we have very young girls. We start working with them as tender as
they open up to you? Did they come to you?
Yeah.
Now, how many girls will come to you on a daily basis? Or what's like your evolution, like your balance sheet?
I've actually lost count. I've actually lost count.
But you have a good number of young girls coming to you, telling you about their problems. Yeah. Now, what type of problems do they tell you?
Well, socially, we have social problems, spiritual problems. Social, spiritual, coming to the family, economic and otherwise. We have really many aspects they share about, but you have to create, there's always a platform to create relationship and give them the confidence that they can trust you. And also one thing, it's you should have what they are looking for, and I believe that by the grace of God, I was tutored by some other people who helped me receive or groom these values that the other girls are looking out for today. And that's why I'm also transmitting these values to others who will pass it on to the next generation.
Alright, we also have Ndih Julian?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, how are you today?
I'm very fine, thank you.
You're from the University of Oyo, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what faculty?
Faculty of Education.
Alright. So are you to talk about poetry?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright. Now, according to you, what's poetry?
Well, I believe poetry is basically, a spontaneous overflow of emotions that we just recollect in the moments of tranquility. That is what it is to me. It's an outlet for my feelings, be they joy, sadness, anger, frustration, whatever it is, it's just an outlet.
Now, do you think Cameroonians understand what poetry is about? Do you have that feeling that society knows what poetry is about?
Okay, I believe that not everybody in society might have the full picture of what poetry is about, but I believe that Cameroonians are coming up to it.
It's still a virgin area.
Yes, it's still a virgin area. But you find that there are many people these days who are developing interest in poetry because unlike other literary genres, it's short, it's straight to the point, and it passes a very strong message.
Alright, we're going to be talking about women and poetry. How they can impact society with their works of art. Now, Martina, we just had a competition about women and poetry. Now, I want to tell us what it's all about.
Okay, in commemoration of the 2019 World Poetry Day, WIVADEF saw it as an opportunity to communicate the message or the objectives of the organization. Like I said, we are out to pass out values, and we have areas of our interest. We have education for the woman, we have gender-based violence, we have the aspects of discrimination.
Now, why poetry?
Well, we used poetry as a means to communicate, because poetry is a form of communication. It's an art that can easily communicate and appeals to emotion.
So you think that through poetry you can easily
pass out a message? And we actually had some good messages passed out on the day. And Julian sitting here was the first in the competition during the first round, and the overall second during the competition.
Wow.
And we gave them, during the first round, we gave them topics to write on education, discrimination, and gender-based violence, all towards women, or in relation to women, because that's what we focus on. And we also had, during the second round of the competition, we had topics on family, culture, and sexuality. So those are aspects that we are actually interested in, to communicate to women, help them identify challenges, help society to see how women go through challenges and how they can join their voices, also hear our cries and look for solutions. So in the last edition, we actually had them write about what they think, what they've seen, what they've experienced about, let me say, education, violence and discrimination, also down to the family culture and about their sexuality.
The problems that women face in
society.
They tried
and this was our target or our goal. Identify the problem, bring it to the people, and then pass a message. How can we cope this? How can we solve this? And we had some persons who wrote just projecting the problems. We had others talking about what to do about it, and we have some who had a mixture, a blend of communicating the problem and also giving hints on how they could be addressed.
Now, Julian, was that so easy to talk about issues that women face in society in your work?
It was, I will not say it was totally easy, but it was quite easy for me because I wrote out of my experience.
Now, what were you talking about?
Well, my poem is titled Awake Woman, and I wrote the poem Awake.
Awake.
Yes,
Okay.
like to get up. And I wrote the poem because I've realized that most women in our society, they are not conscious of the fact that they have this intellectual ability and they can reach whatever academic goal or educational goal they aspire to get to. So the poem is just to push women to come to that consciousness that you can do it. You have it in you.
Can we have it?
All right, the poem, it says, awake, woman, awake. Awake, I say, for God's sake. Come out of the smoky hollows, carved by those who taught your mind shallow. Arise, woman, arise. Arise out of your demise. Break free from the mental chains that restrain your scholarly aims. Behold, woman, behold, the fall of the stereotype which your erudite goals did hold. Your skill is beyond setting tables. Woman, your mind is capable. Your intellect very able. Your wit also stable to engage the academic battle against ignorance and illiteracy. Get your hands ready. Get your mind steady. Ascend the erudite ladder. Come, sister, daughter, mother. Come become that great leader. Awake, woman, awake. Awake, I say, for God's sake. Arise, woman, arise. Arise out of your demise.
All right, that was quite interesting.
Thank you.
Now, where did you get your inspiration from?
Well, to write this poem, I got my inspiration from looking at the young girls who are around me. You know, I actually had a classmate who told herself that after getting her first degree, she was just going to end there because she believed that if she wanted to pursue her master's, you know, people would not want to marry her. You find other young girls who...
She's already blocked.
Yes.
Somewhere.
So it's just like a mental chain,
Okay.
you know, that has been placed on the woman. People believe that if you're a woman and you are educated, you won't get married.
That's what society says.
Yes.
And that's the problem we have.
Yes, go ahead.
So I looked at the situation and I said to myself, no. I said to myself, no. I said women should be given that opportunity to pursue their education to whatever height they deem fit. Yes, because they have that ability in them. It should not lie dormant. It's not only the men whom we can have as engineers, as pilots, as presidents. Women can do these things, and I believe they should do it. So I'm pushing them.
Now, what do you do when you meet these young girls around you?
Okay, what I do
You have
is...
problems. They are
Yes.
very young. They're your friends. They have these difficulties, these challenges. And what do you do?
Well, what I do is, in that case, I just assume the role of a motivational speaker. I ask you, what are your dreams? What are the things you would like to become? And, you know, some people, they share the dreams with you, and then at a certain point, they say, I would like to do this birth. And you see their shoulders go down. Maybe my father does not have enough money, or I know that if I have a PhD, nobody will want to get married to me because that's what my aunties have told me. So I always encourage them, and I tell them, you are strong, you are intelligent. Pursue your dream to whatever level you want to get to. Any man who is intimidated by a woman's academic knowledge or academic level is basically a man who is not deserving of that woman.
All right. Martina.
Well, Ndih Maureen, I think you can see why the poem came first. We had a couple of write-ups. We had 20 persons in the competition, and we had only 7 persons to go into the second round. And we actually found this particular message so that it was really captivating. It was thrilling. So that the message about education, like she said, it's funny that even in this generation, I have had a couple of those confrontations. You have a degree, you're a lawyer, you're young, and now you're going for masters, and you want to... Men will be afraid of you, they won't marry you and all of that. But one thing about who I am and where I'm going to and what I'm doing with the young girls is that I wrote something, I had an inspiration to write something, that men always believe that empowered women cannot be submissive. But that again is a stereotype, that is a mindset. And I said that in a couple of years, we are going to see women who are strong with beauty and brains,
Of course.
and who are career women, but then they are still good mothers, good role model wives, leaders in the society, and of course they have a high level of spirituality and humility. Yes, because that is the fear, and sometimes they are right. You know, sometimes when women or our girls have gotten to a level of education and maybe they can work, they can fend for themselves, they become too proud, too arrogant, even towards just their male friends. And that's the mindset they carry, to think that it's going to be transferred when they get married to these women.
Which is very wrong.
Which is very wrong.
Now I want us to watch this video. We'll be right back for that.
Dear white people, every time you take a breath in her presence, a girlfriend will make you smile. A woman will make your tongue feel like a 7-year-old little girl, and your lips feel like the ropes that are about to help her double dutch her way into popularity. A girlfriend will come over to your house and help clean up your kitchen. A woman will come into your life and help clean up your credit. A girlfriend will ask you to do some shit like have sex with her or make love to her, but a woman will take up all of her insecurities, leave her pride on your pillows, and ask you to have your way with her or make God reconsider their policy on things like racism and sexism and poverty because they know that that is making love. A girlfriend will compliment your outfit. A woman will compliment your whole existence. See, you trip over girls. You untie your shoelaces, dig a hole in the concrete, blindfold yourself 1/4 and fall stone. For women, see, baby girlfriends are for teenagers. Tracy Ellis Ross and BET. You introduce girlfriends like, hey mom, meet my new girlfriend. But us women are introduced like, this is the reason I've been sleeping lately. This is the reason my heartbeat can make a set of drums sound like the violin. She's the career that made me realize all of my old girlfriends were just jobs. And I had to work harder if I wanted to retire blissfully. A woman, she makes you taller. She's something like a spine. A girlfriend ain't shit more than a sling or a back brace, and I need a lot more than a care package after an earthquake. See, nowadays, most of us are too willing to sign for packages a lot lighter than we ordered. Now, I'm not saying that you can't turn a girlfriend into a woman. I'm just saying that shit is like trying to turn a PC into a Mac. Kim Kardashian into Oprah. Fucking Walmart into the Mall of America, and I've been
This time around we have Raisa. Raisa, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank
Love
you.
the smile.
Thank you.
I love the colors of your dress.
Thank you.
We're here to talk about poetry.
Yes, we are.
Now, why poetry? Why are you so interested in that?
Firstly, in school, I did not like poetry. I hated poetry in school because the teachers made it seem so boring, and I don't know. But I found myself writing poetry. It became like my confidence. It was just that thing that I went to when everything else was
you
not
put in
okay.
your problems.
I put in my problems, my solutions, my joys, my sadness, and I fell in love with poetry practically.
So how long have you been doing that?
I've been writing poems since I was in Form 2. Yes, since Form 2.
And where do you get inspiration from?
Normally, I write from my emotions, from a mental state. And it started like that until it became bigger than me. I like to put it like that. It was no longer about how I felt or what I was going through at that moment. It became about wanting to share something that could help somebody else, about giving some other person a voice, sharing some other person's experience that was not necessarily my own, but that was more important than the story that I may have.
Okay. Now, were you so particularly interested in problems that your mates go through?
Yes, I was. Not only with problems that my mates go through, but also with how the media portrays these issues and these circumstances. Because my mom is a single parent and my aunties are all single, and they are great women, they are strong and they are enterprising. And what I saw around me was not what the media was portraying.
Okay.
And there was no coherence between the two. I was like, okay, this is not the story I know.
Single mothers are not worth it. I mean, they're not strong enough to
Exactly.
raise children that could succeed in life.
Yes, as if they could not stand by themselves, as if women had to depend on some other person.
Okay.
And so I felt the need to tell the story that I knew, the story that I saw every day. And that's the story I want people to hear, that women we can do these things. Like, we are not weak.
Okay.
We can.
Okay. Martina?
Okay, Marisa seated here was the overall best in the poetry competition just ended, organized by Wivadef. Yeah, in commemoration of the World Poetry Day. And she stood out in her write-up on no. And I think you'd like to hear it. She was writing about sexuality, the challenges you have to face as a woman when it comes to your interactions with men. I think that we could hear
All right, can we hear your poetry out?
Of course. I'll just read it if you don't mind.
Okay.
No. Fine girl, I know. These curves of yours should be mine to handle. You can be the canoe and I the paddle. You can ride me, just strap in the saddle. Insignificant, I know. Abstinence is no longer in vogue. Just another day behind the shades. It will all eventually fade. Everybody does it, I know. There is no need to shiver. I've told you time without number. Don't you see I am not a novice? I mean you well by asking this. Experience taught me well. I know. It can teach you too if you let it. No point in keeping the room lit. Turn off the light, let lessons begin. You are not a child. I know. Don't start your talks of women empowerment and feminism. Don't preach to me about being in full ownership and control of your body. This is not social media. Don't believe them when they talk of gender sensitivity and sexuality. Lights out. Let lessons begin. No, sir, no. Your plans for me are not benign. I've dealt with such passes since I was 9. And in a bid to please you, I could lose it all. And I've come too far to slip and fall. Sir, no doesn't mean maybe. No doesn't mean later. No isn't me playing hard to get. No isn't wait a moment while I undress. No doesn't mean let's disappear into the dark. No doesn't mean I'd rather have the doors locked. Sir, no means no. Thank you.
Quite interesting.
Thank you.
Wonderful message.
Thank you.
Why on sexuality?
There is a lot of social media buzz about women getting raped, and it was funny that I read a story where the assaulter said, when the victim said, I told him I did not want, I told him no. And then he said, and she said no, but the way she was acting, I was not sure that she meant no. And I was like, what? But why? Is it that our voices are not high enough? Are we not saying it rightly? Is it some miscommunication? How are you hearing yes when we are saying no? How does my no mean something else when I am telling you I don't want to have this thing with you? So it just got me so infuriated. I was like, okay, where's my pen and paper?
Okay.
Somebody has to hear this.
Okay. I think your message has gone through.
I hope so, because I feel like more people are reading poetry now, and more people are, with the use of social media, I post on Instagram and on Facebook. So I hope it's reaching more people.
You have more followers?
Yes, I have followers on Instagram who reply to my posts and to the poems, and some people are really touched by it, and I'm very grateful that it is it's saying something to somebody, and that's all we could really hope
now
for.
What are your objectives? What do you aim at achieving after doing that?
Well,
after
I
all
just
the postings and the rest.
I just hope that if one person can see it and says, okay, now this makes sense, like she's saying something, then I don't need the person to come back and say, you said something that touched me. If that can change one person's mindset, because I believe that to change actions, you must first change the mind.
Okay.
And if it can change somebody's mind, for somebody to think differently, then that person will act differently. And that woman somewhere will see herself differently, and she'll be treated differently. And if that could happen to just one person, then I believe that's a great change.
Now,
and that's great.
Young girls today,
Yes.
were pregnant. I mean, school dropouts. Now, what do you think can be the cause of all this? They go through a lot of problems.
Well, primarily, I think is as a consequence of a lot of peer pressure, because I faced that in school, where my friends would tell me when I was in Form 3 that you're not dating. Everybody has a boyfriend. And I just thank God for wisdom that he gave us early to be able to say, no, I don't want it. But not everybody has that. Not everybody is in that position.
Mountain pressure.
Exactly.
You need. I mean, you will not belong to our group if you don't have a boyfriend.
They will always say it.
You, right?
They will always try. But that's where it starts from. From people who don't have a second voice to say, you don't need that.
Okay.
Like, you are fine, you are strong, you are independent, you
and
are
it's not now.
Not now. You don't need that right now. You are okay. And that's what some people lack. And coupled now with the peer pressure, they just crack. Under all of that, they just find themselves in situations that they had no place being in the first place.
But you confide in your parents?
Yeah, my mom is my best friend.
Okay.
Like, I text her sometimes.
Because we have a lot of young girls who don't confide to their parents, even to any elderly persons. They keep it to themselves, because at one point you need to say everything to your friend. If you really trust to your parent, one of your parents, if you really trust that parent a lot, or to an elder, do you think that happens to young girls today?
Yes, most
parents who are failed in their responsibility in
exactly
educating young girls.
Most girls are afraid of their moms in terms of talking. Like, when I tell my friends, I called my mom about this boy, and they're like, you did what? And I don't understand, because the mother should be that first person you run to. Because the truth is, if you don't give your child that education, she will get it from somewhere else.
Okay.
And now the issue is what she learns. Because there are a lot of things that you will not tell her, but she will see it online, she will see it on TV, and that's where we fall short, because we are afraid to talk about these things.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I'm actually itching to say that when she was talking about the point that no means no, and that's actually where we come in. That's a niche target of Weaver Deaf, because we believe that the destinies of so many young girls were ruined on the basis, on the platter of immature sexual relationships, unprepared. Everybody is in it, everybody is doing it,
and you can't say no.
And there is always this question that kept coming: how can you get married if you don't want to date? How can you get married if you don't want to have a boyfriend? And it feels like the number of boyfriends you have before marriage will determine how good a marriage you can have, and that's a very big problem in the society. Some girls got pregnant, some girls dropped out of school
because they still don't want to try, because
in school.
Okay.
That's the problem. Those guys kept on going to school because nobody sees them.
And you have to drop out because
you're pregnant. And there was this issue of you cannot be pregnant and you're still putting on your jacket. I had just one classmate who actually could muster that kind of courage to come back to school with her pregnancy when I was in Form 3. She came back to school after about 3 months off,
and everybody was like,
she came with her tummy really swollen, and it actually took a lot of time for there to be stability. And I think that's the problem we have, and that's why we are out to. We believe that a young girl is not ready. You're not ready for a relationship if you're not ready for commitment.
Okay.
And we believe a lot in the fact that being ready for a relationship is when you're actually thinking of marriage. Because if you're not ready for marriage,
so you're telling young girls I need to reserve yourself and then prepare yourself for marriage.
As a marriage is really sad, because abstinence is like, I don't want to talk about staying away from fornication because it makes it look like I'm preaching a sermon. But even the normal moral tendency of abstinence is nowhere to be found. Instead of hearing
so
your
presence,
I mean,
the word no is so difficult.
It's really hard.
I might be laughing very serious.
And who propagates this? Fathers, elder brothers. They don't want that for their children. But then they are there with another man's daughter and telling you, what do you mean? Do you want to tell me you're a virgin? Do you think that being a virgin means you can get a good man to marry? Or what? I mean, they make it feel like it's out of place keeping yourself. It's out of place being that woman who can say, I didn't bow to any man's urge for this thing. They make it feel like the world revolves around sex. But that's not the thing.
But that's not everything. So you're a young girl out there just watching us. You need to have confidence in yourself. I must say no when you're not ready for any sexual intercourse. Say no and prepare yourself for that marriage. Prepare yourself for that man who is somewhere also waiting for you. Now I want us to be right back after the jingle. Welcome back. We're talking about women and poetry. I hope you're learning a lot when it comes to poetry. At least we can pass a lot of messages to young girls and even women. We are learning. We are learning. And we have Juliet. Is it Julie?
Julie.
Who is Julie?
I'm Julie.
How are you today?
I'm fine, and you?
No, I love your smile.
Thank you so
I
much.
hope you're okay.
I'm fine.
Welcome to Kind of the English.
Thank you so
Now,
much.
we're talking about unwanted pregnancy, right?
Yes,
We'll
ma'am.
talk about that. We also have Melissa. Melissa, how are you today? All right, now we're talking about unwanted pregnancy. We've talked about poetry. We're talking about unwanted pregnancy. And the first question I want to ask, any of you can answer the question now. Why is it so rampant in society today?
Well, I begin, I'll take the floor.
Because you're a young girl. And it's so common with young girls.
Yeah. First of all, we need to understand the concept of early pregnancy, because we need to know that early pregnancy can also be termed unwanted pregnancy, and it is that it is just that pregnancy that is gotten at a time when it is not expected, when it is not,
you don't desire,
that you don't desire.
Okay.
Yeah, and we need to know that at that stage it is just a point where a young girl gets pregnant when she doesn't want to. And now there are many reasons that brings this up. The first thing I want to look at is what is most obvious, which is getting into unprotected sex, or how can I put it, early sexual relationship. When you get into early sexual relationship, that is when you're not ready for it. Many of our young girls today and young boys don't really know when they need to get into it. Sometimes they are not mentally ready, sometimes they are not physically ready for a sexual relationship.
No, but why do you go for it when you're not ready?
Well, many of them, that is when...
Why don't you even ask some elderly persons, or you have big sisters, or you have your mothers you can confine
We
in?
come up with the second concept, which I believe was first of all spoken on, peer pressure.
Okay.
I'm in an environment where all my friends do it. It seems like if I'm...
So you have a boyfriend already?
No. I'm putting myself there as a young girl.
Okay.
Yes. Who actually is in an environment where it seems like I'm not a human being, or I'm not a beautiful girl if I don't have a boyfriend around me.
Okay.
Or if I'm not so named to be the girlfriend of somebody.
Okay.
Where all my friends are doing it, and it seems like I carry
But how are you coping with that? You have guys around you?
Of course.
Let me use your language. Now, you have guys around you to stop you? No.
On a daily
What's the
basis,
experience like?
it's really uncountable, and sometimes it seems like it's very disturbing. But once you know how to shake them off, you know how to.
Now, how do you shake them off?
Well, the first most interesting way is just being receptive.
Okay.
First of all, you don't need to be harsh towards anybody.
Because I mean, the first approach a woman want, a young girl, I don't want it. Please, you just insult him.
No.
But that's not the best approach. That's what you're telling
That
young
shows-
girls out there.
Yeah, it actually shows that you're not mature, because there is a way you're going to wave somebody off, or you tell somebody no without actually being insultive or without actually being arrogant.
But if your no is not taken for a no,
Your no has to be no. It depends on how you put it.
maybe the guy does not accept the no, because we have guys who are not going to give up.
No, there is a way you sound confident. There is a way you sound like, no, let me think about it.
Okay.
Yes. You actually welcome the person, you allow the person talk, and then you tell the person, I'm not ready. I don't want this. Sometimes you even give the person the consequences of doing this.
And he understands.
Many of them actually do understand, but some actually keep the persistent chase. Like, if I keep on hunting, I'll catch this beef.
Okay. You call it beef. All right, we have it's Julie, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, who's responsible for that? We're talking about unwanted pregnancy. Do you blame society? Do you blame your parents for not educating young girls enough? Do you put this blame on our cultures and tradition?
Well, for this, I would say everybody has a part to play. Firstly, I want to talk about the girls themselves. I believe it concerns you directly. So the first thing you need to do is you know who you are. As a young lady, there's this thing about confidence. Be confident about who you are, about what you portray. No matter what the society is saying, it all boils down to you. Now, our parents too have a role to play in this. we live in a society where the parents are stereotyped. They feel like talking to your children, or talking, especially the girl children, about certain things is a taboo. It's like, I cannot tell my girl child about sex. But that's where they get it wrong, because like my friend earlier said, if you don't teach them, they will learn it from
Now,
another
you
place.
discuss sex with your parents, with your mother especially?
No.
Why?
Well, let's say she belongs to this part of the society. I can't remember a single instance where I discussed sex with her. But I have been so blessed to have Barrister Martina as a mentor. And growing up, I had other elderly people around me who were more receptive to the idea.
But have you ever walked up to your parents? To your mother especially? Are you close to your mom?
Yes, I am.
Now, have you ever asked her that, Mom, can you teach me something? Can you tell me more about sex?
Truthfully, no, I haven't.
Now, why?
Okay, there is this, I don't know how she will receive the idea.
Okay.
And plus she had, from small, she gave me this understanding of, I trust you and I trust your ideas, I trust your actions. There are times when she tells me, I don't really bother about certain things because I know I brought you up well. I know I instilled values in you. So she makes it, she has already given me some sort of confidence, and that tells me how to go about living life. But society, I wouldn't say I've had it easy with society. It's one thing to grow up in your parents' house, and it's another thing to leave the house. When you leave the house, you meet society. So society doesn't make it easy for us, truthfully, because when you go out and you start getting different ideas, it's like you who is not into it, it's like you're not a human being, like my friend said.
Okay.
So society too has a role to play on this particular aspect.
You have a
don't take it
boyfriend?
easy. No, I don't.
You don't have a boyfriend? They don't have men around you, guys around you?
Those are two different things, man. I have guys around me, but I don't have a boyfriend. I don't have a relationship yet.
But how do you push them aside?
Like I said, it's just knowing who you are, and you also need to be very friendly. There's this idea, once a guy gets close to you and starts seeing you like a sister, it becomes very difficult for him to think harmful thoughts about you. They want to treat you close, they want to keep you around, especially when you have value you add into their lives.
Now, don't you think that young girls these days, their dressing is a problem?
Yeah, that's very correct, and that's as a result of peer pressure. Plus, we live in like how they call it, the Android generation. Everybody wants to show off assets, and I really don't see it that way.
When you expose your body, and you're also attracting the men towards you.
When you expose your body, it sends a signal to them. It's like a signal of, I am ready for this. It's like throwing a bait for fishes to come.
Okay.
So I believe dressing has a lot to play in this, and this also tends to lead to a lot of rape activities.
Rape cases out there.
It adds up to that. That's why today we hear of rape cases being rampant. I'm not saying the guys have a right to do that, but I'm saying the ladies too need to be cautious in the kind of alert you send out to the public. You don't go dressing half naked and you don't expect men not to pursue you.
It's the way you dress and you look sexy, and when you look sexy, it's like you're telling them I'm ready for sex.
Okay.
And when they come, you play hard to get it.
Now, do you talk to some of your mates?
Yes, I
Especially
do.
the ones you see them dressing half naked. Now, how do you try to convince them to stop that way of dressing?
Well, that's really easy. The truth is, every lady loves to be complimented. And once you meet a girl like that, it's simple to like say, wow, you look very beautiful. You're so beautiful. I think you look more beautiful when you have every part covered. It's complimentary, but it sends out the message. Like, you are beautiful. Nobody likes what has been exposed now. Nobody likes what flies have landed on it. Everybody wants something. You want your food to always be covered. You want something presentable, and what is half open is not presentable. I can't give you a food that I've kept open for long and you love it.
Usually, you don't dress that way.
It's just, for me, there's one secret I learned from my mentor, Barrister Martina. She made me to understand that there is a way you dress or there's a way you look that convicts somebody of the way the person is look. Sometimes the way you appear does not need to tell somebody, hey, you're poorly dressed. Just the way you appear, the person starts looking at herself and I'm like, come on, I don't meet up.
Now, why is it so difficult for young girls to respect this word, abstinence, or stick to it?
Okay. I would still like to go back to society. It's not like they don't want to
Is it so
respect the word.
difficult?
It's not. It's an issue of conflicting personality. I want to respect the word, but how would the society see me? And then there's this issue of everybody's doing it.
Because most young girls are more vulnerable to HIV and AIDS.
Yeah.
They don't use condoms, right? And they're trying to like convince some of them or tell them that you need to do protected sex. Is that what they need, or is abstinence?
I believe I'll go with abstinence. Why so? Because even while I was in the secondary school, there's one thing they kept on telling us, that condoms are 99% safe, and I kept on asking myself, where is the 1%? Where do you actually keep the 1%?
Okay.
And we cannot actually take the risk of, say, going with the condoms. So I believe that if you really love yourself and if you have some, it's just about having values. It's just about you keeping to some values. Once you know who you are, like my friend here said, then there's some values you're going to uphold. And any man who thinks you're worthy is going to meet up to those values, and it's really going to take you serious. And once he has a ring on your hand, then feel free to do what you
So you don't go for condoms? Young girls are supposed to use condoms. That's what you're talking about.
Condoms, yeah. I won't even propose condoms to somebody. I would tell the person abstinence.
Yes.
Yeah, I think abstinence is the best word. Like, it's preferable to be at that 1% and you're totally safe. Like, even if 99 people are doing it, just maintain yourself. Be where you feel it's completely safe. After all, there's a saying that 99 days for the thief, 1 day for the
So
thief.
it's all about not having confidence in yourself. That's why we see most young girls involved.
Some other times we also have this aspect of suffering. This aspect of suffering. Why do I give in suffering at this point? Because I do believe that looking at our world today, we have a lot of young girls who have a lot of aspirations. They want to do quite a lot, but because they have somebody who is not willing to help them, so they get into that.
They are dreaming and they set their goals very high.
Very high. And it seems like they just need somebody to hold their hand along, and the next person that comes along is just like, if you do this, if you give him this, then I'm surely going.
Should poverty take it to the depths of a man?
Well, actually, I don't think poverty should. The main issue here is the lack of capacity building. The thing is, most of us ladies go to school and we want to depend solely on our intellectual knowledge. We want to depend on, I read banking and finance in school, I want to work in a bank. But the society has proven time and again that it's not what you study that matters. It's not all about the intellectual knowledge. It's about being creative. It's about using your hands to do things. It's not just sitting in class and expecting to go to the bank. You can still learn banking and finance, you can learn accounting, and you apply it in your own business. Start up something, build capacity, build talent, build skills.
Alright, so you're trying to tell young girls that sex does not take you anywhere. It ruins you, right?
Yeah.
Even right at university, at the University of Boya, we have young girls, we have students like you who are training for maths.
That's that's very true, and it's very rampant in the university too. Yeah.
Now, what do you do about that?
I believe before a lecturer walks up to you to do something like that, he must have noticed some traits in you that portray that. Maybe in the way you dress, and some girls just like to put themselves in harm's way. You don't attend classes, you've never attended lectures, there's nothing you know about. You don't even know the person giving that course. You don't know which lecturer, you don't know the lecturer's name, and you expect to pass. It doesn't work that way. And at the end of the day, you want to be amongst those who wear the robe. So you have no other way. You don't know what is there. The only thing you think is, the only thinking you have is to, let me just sleep with the lecturer and get this done with. And the lecturers themselves don't make it easy, because most of the students in school are old enough to be your daughter's age. And if you don't want your daughter to go about doing that, then you should be sharp in your rebuke to such students who come. You don't inculcate them and you start doing funny things with them.
And the girls should learn to say no, right?
Yes, they should say
on many occasions too, we have ladies who say no. But as my sister here said, it's just like the pressure becomes too hard. The lecturer makes it more difficult than it's
even threatening you with not graduating.
So is it preferable like to give in to the lecturer than say no and repeat the course, you take the course all over again?
I think the best thing is for you to be cautious. You mind the way you dress to school, and you make sure you attend your classes, and also not just attending, but read your notes, so you don't have to fall prey to such circumstances.
Alright, now we have Vivadex. Vivadex. Now what are we learning?
Riverdev has been a blessing to us, to me, because I met my mentor when I was really young. That was about Form 1, when I was in Form 1.
Okay.
I met her really young, and from there she started teaching me about...
mentor when you were in Form 1?
Yes.
Okay.
She started teaching me about values from that tender age, and she would really rebuke me when she sees me doing some things that were not supposed to be done, or behaving a way she doesn't believe I should. And right up to this age, she has still been a blessing. I'm 22 now.
Okay.
She has still been a blessing to my life. She's still a blessing, and she helps me to crop those loose edges.
What are some of the things that we Vivadex, right? How do I pronounce it well? Vivadex. Vivadex.
Yes, ma'am.
What has it done in your life? What has it addressed in your life?
It has addressed the issue of values. I grew up in an area popularly known as Church Street in Limbe.
Okay.
My parents are people of strong values, and I believe they did their best to train me rightly. But then out of the house, I met people with loose values. And at one point, you feel like this thing exists just in my house. I actually used to feel that way. Like, this thing is just my mommy and my father knows it, no other person. But when I met her, she helped me to understand that my parents wanted the best for me. And she helped me to uphold those values. And I'm really grateful for it.
Now, was there a point where she could like come right to the house, talk with your parents, and try to identify some of the problems you're going through that you confided in her, and you could not do so with your parents?
She has been to the house only of recent, and it was really good because my parents used to hear about her a lot, but they had never seen her. And once she came to the house, it was like they forgot about me as a daughter, and they adopted her as a daughter.
Okay.
And my dad was really happy to meet her, and I believe she discussed some things with her. There are certain things my parents did not know about me.
Okay.
But once they were talking to her, they discovered some few things about me that they didn't know.
So she's monitoring all your movements?
Yes, she is.
She is. All right, now let's talk about your parents.
Okay.
Now, what has Vivadev done in your life?
Well,
What are those areas?
I would go with values.
Okay.
Yeah. I met my mentor quite earlier than I could
What
say.
age?
I could say 7. That was when I was
7?
in class 1 or class 2. Yeah.
Okay.
So we've gone way back.
Why so early?
Well, I just believe it had to be so because I could not really tell. I was still in the primary school.
Okay.
And at that time, I was still much of a kid, wanting to live this free life. And
By that age already?
yeah, like doing what all my friends do, the small half skirts you want to wear,
Okay.
just being you. And many a times when she meet me on the way, she's like, "What are you putting on?"
But your parents allowed you to put on that?
Yes,
And it would pose no problem to your
no
parents?
problem.
But you were exposed.
I was exposed.
Okay.
It's just basically the fact that sometimes they only see you in the house, and they don't really know the things you go out there and you encounter.
Okay.
They don't really know these things you face on a day-to-day basis. Yes. I would say they just meet you in the house and they're like, make sure you're the good girl, be the good girl, don't do this, but they don't really...
They're out there, they don't know what happens to you
They
exactly.
don't really know how you get to combat these things and then you become the victorious girl after all. So I would say she actually instilled in me some values. Like you heard from her, back then it was not with her death. So it's just like she has been on a one-to-one coaching with many of us, are inclusive.
Okay.
Yes, she's actually done a good job on me, on my dressing, the way I talk, the way I do things, and so on. She's really been there to add some color to my life.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're ready to follow exactly what she has been telling you to do?
She's a model. Yeah.
She's a model, she's a role model. So
Yeah.
now, when do you want to get married?
That's actually a big question. But
Now, you intend to stay as a virgin until you get married?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And as a big question, I've always wanted to get married at the age of 24.
Okay.
And presently I'm 23.
Okay.
And I could say very boldly and happy that I'm a proud virgin.
Okay.
And that is not just because I intended to be so. It is just because I had people around me that were capable of putting me on the track.
All right.
Just keeping me on track whenever I wanted to go loose.
All right.
Or somebody who held my hand and told me, you can do this, you can get to the end point, and you can give just one man at the end.
Now, what is priority for you? Is it your education? Or if a man comes to you that I want to get married to you,
For now, it's my education.
and you tell the man that no,
We could actually build something, but presently not now.
no, your education first.
My education first.
Now, is it the same thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma.
Okay. For now, my priority is my education. I'm not saying if a man comes, I won't give it a thought. All I'm saying is it takes time to build a relationship, to understand each other, and to finally get to the altar. So if a man comes now, I believe we could be building while I'm achieving my MSc, and we can finally get to the altar if God
And
so
so that you
please.
get to know the man too.
Yes, ma'am.
You know who the man is. So what are you telling young girls out there? I'm giving you 1 minute.
Okay.
Talk to young girls out there.
Well, for the young girls, I would like to say it's not what society has predestinated for us. It's not what society has said about us. We are strong, we are bold, we are young, and we can achieve more. Above all, we have the creativity in us. And we don't have any barriers. There's no barriers. Barriers are only in our minds. So we should go out there, achieve, and maintain values.
Yeah. Melissa?
Well, I would give them just one word. Just be you and make sure you're on track. Keep your values and be firm on them. Your end goal will be your end goal and you're going to succeed.
All right, we also want to say thank you to Viva Dev, and the CEO is Martina Aji. She is a barrister law. She has been the one educating, inculcating values in this young girl so that she could be something more useful in future. Now I want to say if you did enjoy the program, then take a rendezvous same time next week. Goodbye.